Hey, it's Les from Comfortable Shoes Studio, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about thermal printers. So, I had a few questions about the thermal printers and how I use them, what I use them for, why I use them. So, first off, I got caught up into the thermal printer bug like 4 or 5 years ago when sort of YouTube was really flooded with videos about these. Fomemo did a lot of sending stuff out to stationary influencers. And the first time I saw a thermal printer was on Scription, Patrick Eng's blog, where he showed the use of like printing off, news articles, little pictures and things with a thermal printer. It wasn't a Fomemo thermal printer, it was some other version of it, but I thought, wow, that's really cool, kind of wacky. Um, and then not long after that, I saw the phone memo and I asked for it for Christmas. And this is my first phone memo. This is the MO2, one of the originals. So it does have the old micro USB instead of a USB-C, which is kind of a bummer now. But this one's a couple years old and it still works really, really well. I use this one with generally plain sticker paper or colored sticker paper, and I will print off quotes from books or little images and put that into my art journal. Just makes it really quick and easy to do. I have some visions of using the sticker paper in the creation of a zine to like get text down there really quickly and easily. The downside of this is that you only have so many fonts that you can use. You are limited to the fonts that Phonemo has unless you are loading a font in a PDF and then printing from the PDF in the Phonemo app. The Phonemo app is the reason I like Phonemo printers. Phonemo printers are a little more expensive than other brands of thermal printers. In my mind, it's worth it largely because the app generally works really, really well. Now, I did attempt to print a photo that I had edited, so I'm going to try that again. And I'm probably going, is probably, usually this is not a particularly uh, buggy app. I usually have pretty good success with it. So I'm just manipulating the photo a little bit here. Um, for whatever reason, I think it might be actually, I have a crack in my screen. I'm having issues with um, the or it's actually the screen picking up on um, my touch down on the second half of the photo. So I think that actually this is gonna print pretty interestingly. So I've just got black and white. It's just doing like some lines there. Um, and I'm gonna print it on the larger of the two. Um, so really, in terms of size, this is really all I need. The smaller one, this will only print 2¼ inches, 53 between 53 and 58 millimeter wide paper. This will print up to 4¼ inches or 110 millimeters. Now, that's fine by me. Like either one would work for anyone. I do like the slightly wider paper for working in my larger art journal. And it's because of the size and the ability to print in that 4 inch wide space that works better for my larger art journal. This one's fine, but it just has a much narrower sort of band of what it prints. So um both of them work really well. You can put sticker paper in either one. I'm currently using a film type paper that's used in an ultrasound machine. So, when people have babies, or when someone is pregnant, they would scan and print onto this kind of paper. It was a bit fiddly to get it to fit into this. And this is another thing why Phone Memo will probably never send me anything or reach out, because I stuff things into these printers that don't necessarily belong, like ultrasound paper. But also, I use off-brand receipt paper in these. I will take receipts from the store and roll them up and print on top of them. And that just makes me super happy to like have something a little more random, um, that that I can print on top of. That is another thing that you can do. Like with this one, you have the potential to print on any size receipt paper for the most part. So that's one of the reasons I like this wider size. If you're gonna do some like weird artsy stuff where you're stuffing random paper and things into it, I would get the wider one just for the ease of being able to roll up any receipt and stuff it in there. With this one, you have to cut it down to 2 1/4 and not. I find smaller businesses have the narrower paper because that's what they use. If they use a point receipt machine, that's what this uses. Um, Otherwise, like if I go to Lowe's or Home Depot, I have to cut their receipts down or fold them up and do some like fancy rolling to get it to fit in there. So this paper is going to print, or this image is going to print over here. There we go. It's not always this loud. Um, this With this particular paper, it is generally loud. Um, but yeah, check that out. That's To me, that's really cool. That makes me super happy. So you print it off, it prints off relatively quickly, and it looks like that. This one, I will say the ultrasound paper, um, is really, really nice in terms of how dark the darks are, and how crisp the image is. Not every receipt paper is built the same. Um, I will say the ultrasound paper is really kind of exorbitantly expensive. I happen to get it through the Amazon Vine program. Maybe there's someone you can go in on for a box of it, to get it, bring the price down per roll. Each roll ends up fitting like three rolls worth that fit in here. But anyway, like for me, the way that I use these is I will read something on my Kindle, I'll take a note in my Kindle, and then that goes into my Kindle notebook. But also I take a lot of screenshots. I did just clean out a bunch of my images from here, but I'll take a screenshot of a book that I'm reading, and then I'll import it into the Phone Memo app and print it off, and then I can stick that into my art journal. And for me, that works really, really well because I don't like copying things over. Um, I find that tedious and boring. What I want to do is print that off, slap it into my art journal, and then journal about it. I want to put my responses to it, not necessarily copy over the text that I was just reading. And this can look different in a lot of different ways. Some of this stuff I have shown on the channel before. Um, so let me see if I can find a good page here. Here's a good page. These are all screenshots from a Linda Berry book that I read on Kindle, as well as a photo that I took from one of my notebooks. This one's from Syllabus. This one's from Drawing Comics. So this is how I commonplace. I print off these things, I put them in my journal, and then if I had something that I wanted to explore, I would write it over here. These I just really want, like Linda Berry makes journals her own by adding a pocket. Her first page has a traced hand, which I think is really cool. um so that just I also will print off things either that I've written as a blog post and then put it in here. And then I'll highlight things in it. Um, so those are just like a couple of the different ways that I might use one of these. Here's another page. This is another thing that I do with these. I print stickers off with them. You can find relatively inexpensive colored stickers. You get a roll of like 5 to 600 of them for like $10. And you can put those through one of these printers. They don't always like it. But they will print on them, and sometimes you get some weird fun results. But yeah, I do some stuff like that. Here's another page of commonplacing. This is all that 2¼ inch sticker paper. I was just trying to pack a lot of stuff in here about creativity. So yeah, that's one of the ways that I'll use it. I don't in this journal. I don't have a lot of photos that I've taken because that's another thing that I do. I will take photos and I will print those on the sticker paper or on other paper and then put them into my journal. And that just works really, really well for me, for my style of journaling. Makes me super happy. Um, and yeah, here's another page of quotes. A little Audre Lorde quote. A bunch of stuff came up in my life that reminded me that you can't dismantle the master's house with the master's tools. And also some more Linda Berry. They don't really go together, that's for sure. But you know, actually, I think they kind of do because I think Linda Berry really rethought comics and did her own thing in her own way, not using the master's tools, using her own tools. But so that's the kind of like how. But in terms of the printers themselves, like when you are considering one of these printers, how do you choose one over the other? Part of it for me initially was cost. We got this one back when they were much more expensive. Um, and we got it because of the cost. This one came with like a nice gift box of a whole variety of sticker paper, which was really, really nice. Um, but also, like at the time, I didn't think I was going to want anything wider than 2¼ inches. How wrong I was. Um, there's another version. Of the faux memo. There's somewhere it's like in between here. I think it'll do like 3½ or 3¼ inches, whatever 80 millimeters is. And I think in terms of these things, like you got to think about like what is going to be the most versatile thing for you. Um, I've seen these down as cheap as like $25 on Amazon. There are a couple of different brands that actually sell a faux memo under a different brand name. What you want to do in the Amazon listing is look for what app they use. So Faux Memo app uses or Faux Memo printers use the Faux Memo app. Memo King sells Faux Memo printers that use the Faux Memo app. So you just want to look and see which ones sell, which are listing that they use Faux Memo app. It'll list that in the description somewhere and sometimes in the photos. If it's listed as an MO2, it's probably a faux memo printer, just not being branded. Sometimes you'll see the faux memo branding blurred out. Memo King does that. A couple of other brands that sell faux memo printers, but not under faux memo. It's weird. But they do use a faux memo app. So that's the reason I use these is for the app. Now, this is super portable. It doesn't weigh a whole lot. I have a case that I can stuff it into. So here's a little hard-sided case that will hold the faux memo pretty securely. So the faux memo fits in here like so. I'm just gonna kind of cinch that in with the divider. Then you can put a bunch of sticker paper and other paper in there. You put some stuff up there. And there you go. You've got a super portable case with your phone memo in it. I'm going to check to see. And actually, this one is also not unportable. It's just not quite as portable as this guy. But obviously, the divider is not going to fit and hold it snug. So, yeah, either one of these is pretty portable. This one I take with me on vacation, like when I go and visit my parents. This is the one that I take with me, and I slap it in here, in a little case, and then I stuff it in a bag, and it works. It's great for that. I can print off some vacation photos right there while we're visiting. My nephew thinks it's super cool. I mean, as much as a middle schooler thinks anything is super cool. Uh, but yeah, the it's super portable. Um, I do like the small one quite a bit. So yeah, if you value portability, you might want to go with the MO2. If you want something that's going to print substantially larger images, the MO4AS would be the way to go. I think there's also just a plain MO4, without the AS on there, but I think the AS designates that it's got like uh, the little decorative envelope look. The other thing that you can use this for is writing your own stuff on your phone, printing it off, and having like really nicely printed text. My handwriting is not great. When I'm doing lettering in my art journal, um, and not writing, um, if I'm doing lettering in my art journal, that can look pretty good, but my handwriting itself is like chicken scratch. I've gotten complaints about it forever, and that's fine. But this, like, if I am making a zine, I can use this to print off text and then cut and paste it so easily into the zine or into the art. Um, and that just makes these things super valuable for me. But what I do typically is I will type something in Google Docs and then I'll cut and paste that into the phone memo app on my phone. Really slick, really easy to do. And I can use either printer for that. Now, I do use this one, the MO4AS, more than I use this one now. Now that I have this, I use it all the time. The slightly larger paper fits with the slightly larger journals that I'm using. Um, but I can also put smaller paper in it. This one has the flexibility that I can put 2¼ paper in it, and it'll print that. It'll also print 80 millimeter paper and 110 millimeter paper. I think I can even go narrower. I haven't looked at that in a minute. Let's take this out. We can see. So foam memos all have this. I'm going to call it a rail for lack of a better word. This bar, this rail. That your paper slides onto. It'll do down to 15 millimeters. So do 15, 25, 53, 80, and 110. And so that's why I use this one way more often than I use the MO2. I love the MO2 for its portability, but when it comes down to everyday printing, I use this one way more often now. Um, Either, like, they both work great. The other printer that I do use, and I haven't used it in a while, I haven't shot a lot of photos in a hot minute, is the Pictic. And I'm not gonna show the Pictic. The app for the Pictic is okay. It's called Metaprint. Before you buy any printer, I'm not saying that you need to buy the phone memo. Also, I'm just gonna put this out there. This is not sponsored. We bought these with our own money. My wife bought me this one. I bought this one for my birthday gift. No, Christmas gift. I bought this as a Christmas gift to myself. Um, and so we paid for these. I've paid for the papers and the sticker stuff. Phone Memo has not given me anything. Although I will say, if Phone Memo wants to send me some stuff, I would gladly review it. So yeah, not sponsored at all. Just a huge fan of their printers and the apps. Now, I have looked at and bought. I bought the Pictic. Bought the Pictic for its split image printing, which you can't do natively in the phone memo. What you can do is there's some websites, and Sarah let me know on Facebook that there's a free website. You put your images into it and it splits it in two for you, and then you can print it off on these printers pretty easily, snip things up, and then slide them together. It works pretty well. Um, so yeah, so I think you just have to decide what size you want to print, how much money you want to spend. That's a whole other thing. If you're going to buy these on Amazon, watch the price on them closely. Right now, they're ridiculously expensive. This one is going for over $100. I think it's $109, maybe with a coupon that brings it down to like 80 something. I think I paid around $60 for this one during the holiday season. I want to say it was around Thanksgiving when I bought this, and it was around $60. I would not have paid $100 for this. And this one I've seen for $25. I would say, create some sort of drop list somewhere. If you use Honey, I use Honey, again, not sponsored. I use Honey to keep track of prices on things before I buy them. Also, it shows me the pricing history on things so I can see if things have recently increased or gone down. But keep an eye on the price and look for deals on them because they do go on sale on a regular basis or have massive coupons. So yeah, so that's my diatribe about thermal printers. I think if I had to do it over again, probably wouldn't have bought the MO2. I would have bought this one straight away, but that I know is my printing preference. Also, because I'm working in a larger journal now, this gives me the ability to print as small as 15 millimeters wide and the whole way up to 110. So, yeah, I don't know if any of that made sense. I don't know if that was helpful. It's just me kind of rambling about phone memo and my printers, how I kind of use them. How do you use your thermal printers? Any tips, hints, tricks, things that you do with them? Would you not ever use one? I mean, these are not archival. That's a whole other shebang. That's a whole other conversation about like the fact that in my Everything Everywhere journal and actually in my regular art journals, I'm not overly concerned with the archival nature of the materials I'm using. Um, I have chosen to uh, ignore archival when it comes to my art journal. Now, when I'm making finished artwork, I do worry about archival materials. I make sure that my paper is good. I make sure my ink is good. I don't want to use anything that's going to fade and be ruined in a short period of time. So, yeah, these are not necessarily archival. Foam memo does have some printer paper in the 2 1/4 size, possibly in a larger size as well. That is considered archival, has a 20-year lifespan. I do have receipts in my art journals that have been there for 20 years. I've been slapping receipts into art journals for as long as I've been making them. I've got receipts and journals that I did in high school. We won't talk about how long ago that was, but it was over 25 years ago that are still clear. But then I also have receipts that are completely blank. And it really does depend on the paper. Um, the paper makes a huge difference. Buying quality paper for these things means you get a crisp, clean print versus something that's hazy and unreadable. So yeah, make sure you buy good paper for them or moderately good paper. I bought a box of good paper with a 7-year lifespan that does fantastic prints. I also regularly use sticker paper that probably isn't archival. It's meant for kids, and I'm okay with that. You have to decide what is going to work for you and not work for you. But yeah, paper makes a huge difference. So yeah, that's what I got to say about thermal printers. Let me know if you have one. Let me know hints, tricks, and tips in the comments section. I appreciate you sticking around and watching me ramble about thermal printers. And with that, I want to say thanks. and I'll see you next time. Bye.